Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to my what I read in August. So I read 4 books and I had 3 DNFs in a row. That was not a good week for me. So I'm just going to go through the books, I'm going to go through the DNFs as well and discuss my reviews. I did have a 5-star this month, which I'm very, very happy about. Actually, oh no, we did have a low score. We'll get into that. Let's go. The first book I read this month was Notes on a Murder by B.P. Walter. So the blurb says, it started with an invitation to dinner, an evening of good food and good company at a luxury villa. But as the night progresses, the party takes a dark turn. The host makes you an offer, a party favour he calls it. Another guest has committed a heinous crime. You can end their life, stop their terror. In return, you get to live your darkest desire, one you've never shared. Your decision will change your life. Choose carefully. I gave this a 4-star. The issue I have is I didn't write a review on Goodreads, which, so I gave it 4 stars, but I don't, I remember it, but I'm not here like, oh my gosh, so this happened, da 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 da. I have read 2 of B.P. Walter's books. I've read The Dinner Guest and I've read The Locked Attic. The Dinner Guest, I'm pretty sure I gave 4 stars. The Locked Attic, I did not like. I think I gave it a 2-star. So we're basically, I think we're on a Greek island. I can't remember. And a family have gone out there on holiday and a romance starts and then weird things happen. I actually think I might downgrade my score because thinking back now, I think the only reason I gave it a 4-star was because I couldn't put it down, but the ending, I would probably say the last third was just very average. So I actually think I might change this score, but I would still pick up B.P. Walter. I've got another one of their books, The Garden Party, I think. And I know I still need to read The Woman on the Pier. So let me know where you stand on this author, because at the moment they're falling quite mediocre for me. If I were to downgrade this to 3.5, then their scores have kind of been all over the place. But I'd be interested to see if anyone else has read this. Again, this one had really mixed reviews on Goodreads, so I know I'm not alone. I guess it was just average. It's forgettable. I read it at the beginning of the month and I can't remember much about it. The next book I read was The Worry Website by Jacqueline Wilson. Look how damaged this copy is. I ordered it off Vinted and it just got absolutely wrecked in the post. Really short book. It's basically the children can go onto a website that the teacher has created and write down their worry anonymously. Obviously the teacher is able to work out who it is, but it's a really great concept. I gave this a 4-star. The teacher in this, Mr. Speed, is so lovely. I will say it does cover some heavier topics, like domestic abuse is covered. But then there's other topics like someone suffering from nightmares because they watched a horror film without their parents knowing. So I do think it's a really good read and I probably will give this to my niece. Can you hear that shouting? It was just a book that I was reading at night before falling asleep. I'd just read, a chapter each night. But a really, really great concept. I think it's a really, I can imagine there's lots of children that would read this and relate to a lot of the worries in the book. And I think that's always just so lovely. So yeah, I really enjoyed this 4-star. Now on to my 3 DNFs in a row. The first one is Breathless by Amy McCulloch. I think with all of them, I got about 50, 60 pages in. I know this is going to sound silly because it's quite clearly about climbing a mountain, but there was so much mountaineering talk that it was just disjointing the sentences for me and I couldn't focus. When there's so much terminology you don't understand, it was just making the sentences just really bitty. There was a lot of characters introduced and it was just, I couldn't keep up. And also I just didn't really feel anything for anyone, and had this book on the side and I'd pick it up every so often, but I didn't want to go back to it. And then eventually I just thought, you know, I've had this on the side probably for about 8 weeks trying to read it, and I was like, I'm not carrying on. I'd love to know where you stand with DNFs. I am a big advocate. Like, if you're not liking a book, why would you finish it? There's so many books out there that I want to read. I just don't want to waste my time on books that I just am not enjoying. The next DNF, along similar lines, is The Contest by Karen Hamilton. Again, the premise of this is that they need to go and climb. What do they need to climb? They have to go and, like, I'm sure they have to go and climb a mountain. It's like the first one to the top. Loads of characters' names. No one's likeable. Really obnoxious characters. And there was so many editing errors in this book. It just put me off. So I really liked the idea of this because it says the trip of a lifetime, a prize worth killing for. I just, you know, when you just don't care. I was like, I don't even care who, like, ends up dead. I'm just not bothered, so my bad. And then the next DNF was on Kindle, which I am sad about. And that's How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. And I'd heard so much about this. It's had so much potential. It's basically about this woman who went to a fortune teller, met like decades ago, and was essentially told like how she would die, and then, you know, decades later, she is found dead or murdered. And it's about them trying to solve the riddle and working out who did it. The intro was just, when I say intro, I mean like the lead up to her actually dying was so long. We just didn't need that. Loads of characters introduced again, which I just find, when they're like all bundled in, I just lose track. There was a separate timeline and some of the characters were crossing over, but I was forgetting who was who. And I just didn't care, guys. Right? I didn't care. On to more positives. My 5-star of the month. Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent. This book is my new holy grail. I absolutely loved this book. So I will read the blurb to you. Actually, I'm going to read the first line. Sally Diamond cannot understand why she was so strange. She was only doing what her father told her to do, to put him out with the rubbish when he died. Sally Diamond is one of my favourite characters I've ever read. I was rooting for her. I backed her. Sometimes she frustrated me. It's a really cleverly written... Is it a thriller? I guess it is a thriller. That covers some deep topics, so just like check trigger warnings. There is like kidnapping, abuse, neglect, all of those things. But what I liked about this as well is there wasn't a massive twist at the end. There was no, you know, there were little twists, but there was no big reveal because it didn't need it. This book I could not put down, and as someone who reads quite a lot of like thriller, crime books, it's so refreshing when you pick up something that is just, it's not like anything you've ever read before. So I highly recommend. And I've never read Liz Nugent before, and you best believe I will be picking up more of her books because it was just, this was just everything I love in a book. And then I ended the month with The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. So many mixed feelings about this book. I gave it 2.5 stars, which might sound harsh, but if you think 2.5 out of 5 makes it average. So it's not that bad. So this says, in the shadows of an ancient wood, guests gather for the opening weekend of the manor, a beautiful new countryside retreat. But under the burning midsummer sun, darkness stirs. Old friends and enemies circulate among the guests. and the candles have barely been lit for a solstice supper when the body is found. If you've read Lucy Foley before, it's a very typical Foley book. The same way if you read a Frida McFadden, you know it's a Frida McFadden. I don't know if that plays into the part of me kind of thinking like, I feel like I've just read stuff like this before. Like, you know, like the body's found at the beginning, but we don't find out until the last few pages who it actually was. Really short chapters because it's like done from different perspectives, which I like. However, I found sometimes in this one, the chapters were literally like, I don't know, a page, half a page. Sometimes it was just a bit too, I needed a little bit more time with each character. Obnoxious characters, annoying characters. And the other thing that I really didn't like in this is it had some very typical horror thriller tropes that I just really don't like, such as they're trying to be quiet and he stepped on a twig and the person looked and found him. And there was another bit when these people were hiding, no spoilers, and one of them couldn't contain a sneeze, so the people saw them. Like those little things, I just think, really, come on, what, you couldn't hold in a sneeze? Slightly frustrating. But I was picking it up, like, you know, it's not like I wasn't wanting to read it. There was one twist that I liked. I feel like the rest were quite predictable, so I feel very like on the fence with this one. I would still read Lucy Foley. I have had, again, a very mixed bag with her. I think my favourite has been The Paris Apartment. I read is it The Dinner Guest or The Dinner... that one. The Guest List. I read that years and years ago, which I might reread. I did not like The Hunting Party whatsoever. So again, just a bit of a mixed bag, but I still would pick it up. And also, look at the, look at this. How nice is that? So, yeah, I'd still read her. I just felt like it was nothing new, it was nothing shocking. And there we have it. Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag. I only managed to read 4 books, which again, I know I mentioned last time, I'm actually happy about because I normally hit a slump now. So it means I'm only 2 books behind schedule to reach my Goodreads goal. I think I've put a goal of 50 books this year. So I'm pretty pleased. I'm reading a couple of books at the moment. Am I? Yes, I am. So I'm hoping for a good month. I've got a very busy month. It's Adam's birthday this month, so we'll be busy doing that and prepping to go to France in October. So I'm hoping to try and get a bit of reading in. There's some books I've had on my shelves for so long and I need to just get through them because they normally end up being the ones that I love the most. You know, the ones that I don't know why sometimes I don't get round to them. I wonder if sometimes there's like an anticipation that it's been hyped so much that I'm not going to like it. But yeah, I'm hoping to crack on with some of my TBR. And that's it. Let me know your thoughts on any of the books I read. Let me know what you read this month. Let me know if there's anything you think I should be picking up. And I'm hoping to make this a monthly thing because I enjoy it. Whether you do or not, I enjoy it. I will see you in a few weeks' time for what I read in September.